You hear about break-ins all the time. Someone kicks in the door, grabs what they can carry, and leaves. A laptop, some jewelry, maybe cash from a drawer, and people say, well, at least no one got hurt. At least it was just things. But I knew a woman once who had her home broken into. And yes, what they took was small. A radio, some bills she kept in the kitchen, an old watch that didn't even work anymore. Nothing that couldn't be replaced in an afternoon. But what they left behind, that was something else entirely. My name is Arthur. I'm 80 years old, and I've seen enough of life to know that the heaviest things we carry aren't always the ones you can weigh on a scale. This woman I'm talking about, her name was Lorraine. She lived 2 streets over from me for years. Quiet type. Kept a nice garden, waved when you drove by. The kind of neighbor you don't think much about, but you're glad they're there. She called me one morning, and I could hear it in her voice right away. Something flat. Something gone. She said someone had broken in the night before. Came in through the back window while she was asleep upstairs. Took a few things and left. I went over that afternoon, brought some wood to help board up the window until she could get it fixed proper. When I got there, she had the place almost back to normal already. Drawer closed, glass swept up. You wouldn't know anything had happened if you didn't look close. But Lorraine, she looked different. She kept saying the same thing over and over. It wasn't much. They didn't take much. Like she was trying to convince herself. Like if she said it enough times, the feeling would match the facts. I helped her with the window. We didn't talk much while I worked, but when I finished, she offered me coffee, and we sat at her kitchen table. That's when she finally said what I think she'd been holding in all day. I don't feel safe here anymore. Now, I've heard people say that before. After something like this, it makes sense. You feel violated, you feel exposed. That's normal, that's human. But what surprised me was how long it lasted. Weeks went by, then months. Lorraine got new locks, got a security system installed. Her son even offered to come stay with her for a while, but she said no. She didn't want to be a burden, didn't want people thinking she couldn't handle her own life. But I'd see her sometimes, standing at her front window in the evening, just looking out. Not at anything in particular, just watching. She told me once, a few months later, that she still couldn't sleep through the night. She'd wake up at the smallest sound, a branch against the glass, the furnace kicking on, her own house, the place she'd lived for 30 years, had started to feel like it belonged to someone else. And here's the part that stuck with me. She said the hardest thing wasn't being afraid. It was being angry at herself for being afraid, because logically she knew it didn't make sense. Nothing bad had really happened. She wasn't hurt. They didn't take anything important. She had insurance. Everything was fine. But it didn't feel fine. And she kept thinking, why can't I just get over this? Why am I still upset about a radio and $20? I think that's what people don't talk about enough. The guilt that comes after something like this. The feeling that you're overreacting, that you should be tougher, that other people have been through worse. So what right do you have to still be shaken? But that's not how feelings work. You can't logic your way out of fear. You can't shame yourself into feeling safe again. It doesn't matter if what was taken was small. What matters is what was left behind. For Lorraine, what they left was doubt, the kind that sits in your chest and asks, what if they come back? What if next time is worse? What if I'm not as safe as I thought I was? And once that doubt moves in, it's hard to get it to leave. I've thought about that a lot over the years, not just about break-ins, but about all the ways we get hurt by things that don't leave a mark. The conversation that changes how you see someone, the diagnosis that rewrites your future, the letter that doesn't come, the phone call that does. Small moments, big weight, and the world doesn't always make room for that. People want you to bounce back, move on, be grateful it wasn't worse. And maybe they're right, in a way. Maybe it could have been worse. But that doesn't make the weight any lighter. I remember one evening, maybe 6 or 7 months after it happened, I saw Lorraine out in her garden again. First time in a while. She was planting something, bulbs, I think, for the spring. I walked over and asked how she was doing, really doing. She looked up at me and smiled. Not a big smile, just a small, tired one. I'm getting there, she said, and I believed her, because that's the thing about healing. It's not a switch you flip. It's not a day you circle on the calendar. It's slow, it's uneven. Some days you feel fine, some days it all comes back. But eventually, the weight gets a little easier to carry. Lorraine never forgot what happened. She still locks her doors twice before bed, still checks the windows before she goes upstairs. And maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe that's just her being careful, being aware. But she also sleeps through the night now. She also laughs again. She also tends her garden and waves when I drive by. And I think that's what recovery really looks like. Not forgetting, not pretending it didn't happen. Just learning to live with it. Learning that you can be cautious and still be at peace. If you've ever had something taken from you, and I don't just mean physically, I mean emotionally, mentally, the kind of theft that leaves you feeling less than you were before. Know this, what you're feeling is real. It doesn't matter if other people don't understand. It doesn't matter if it seems small from the outside. You're allowed to feel what you feel. You're allowed to take your time. And you're allowed to ask for help. To talk about it. To admit that you're not okay yet, even if you think you should be. Because healing isn't about being tough. It's about being honest. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is just say, this hurt me, and I'm still working through it. Take care of yourself. Lock your doors if it makes you feel safer. Talk to someone if the weight gets too heavy. And remember, what was taken may have been small, but what you're carrying is real. And you don't have to carry it alone.